There's something massive happening where it's about to start in a few weeks in the crypto market, and most people don't understand what it is and how it correlates to the bond market. And if you don't learn these lessons sooner than later and start to invest the right way and stop playing around in the markets trying to speculate, you're going to lose a lot of money and miss out on the opportunity to make lots of money. This video is inspired by a comment that came from a friend of mine who's also owns an incredible YouTube channel. And he said, you got to explain to people these different cycles. Now, I explain all these cycles in a lot of depth in my courses that I do. And I told him, because he's been starting to watch my, you know what? I got to find the comment actually. Check this out. Wrong text. Of course, you do this live and you start to get impressed. He wants me to give macro framework, right? It's the wrong one. There's a group text. And he goes, you got to show this, this, and this. And I called him and I said, hey, it's in all the courses. You just haven't seen those videos yet. And he's like, dude, I'm trying to get a hold of this. And I can't believe what you're teaching your courses. And why don't you do this on the channel? And I told him very bluntly, I want people to trust me. My whole life, all I've done is trying to teach people. And I'm going to get to what's going on in this crypto market because I said something that blew his mind. And I wonder if it'll blow yours too. I honestly want your feedback. I told him my whole life I've tried to help people be successful, but because they judged me by the way that I dressed, the way that I looked, the car that I drove, they dismissed my my knowledge. The whole time since I was in my mid-20s, I was a millionaire. Then I became a multimillionaire, and then it just grew from there. That is the truth. But my whole life, I've dealt with judgment. And my knowledge of how much I knew and my accomplishments kept me from being like that with other people. I remember learning amazing things from a little old lady sitting on a bench that was by herself, and she looked really lonely, and I talked to her one day, and I was just asking her questions, and the most amazing stuff was coming out of her mouth, and I was like, and it was showing me things in my life that I had to change so that I could live a great life like her. It's because of the hard lessons I learned from how I just wanted to help people for free, and they crapped on me. That is why this channel has always been in a car or sitting on the street with a piece of cardboard or riding a tricycle. Because the first time I became a YouTuber, I went to one of these really well-known YouTubers, and he wears a suit all the time. He's really fancy. He's actually really awkward when you meet him. He's super shy and scared and cowards, but whatever. And I said, if this guy's got a whiteboard, then I'm going to use cardboard. I don't know if any of you ever remember. Type this yes if you remember me saying that a long time ago. It's because I went to this show, and he's real fancy and throwing this show in Miami, and then no joke, right in the middle of this, he goes, you know what? Why don't you go sit in the back and watch me? And that's what started it. It was like this deep-seated, like, oh, you're gonna treat me like that? Well, let's see what's gonna happen. And my question here, real quick. All right, let me get this thrown off. My students are always trying to get me to say things on the channel to try and pump their bags, even though I guess 300% or 400% is not enough money in the last 4 months. Type 1 if you would like to make that kind of money in 4 months. And this only happens, now we're going to get into crypto stuff for a short period of time. All right. My buddy said that he saw a video in my coaching calls the other day, and he goes, oh my gosh, this is the ninja that used to be a long time ago. We need that back, because people were asking me direct questions. I'm giving them direct answers, and I've got a lot of experience in specific fields of finance, one of them being cryptocurrency. And I told him why I didn't, like I just told you, I want people to have a certain level of trust. So if you want the real stuff and you want to change your life, there's a course for you. Put in the hard work. And I told him, said, all the people that whine and complain that, it's not happening like I say it is, because they're watching the channel because they're lazy. They're not putting any, watching any of the coursework. We go and, you're a student? Yeah. We look up their course. Never watched it. Never watched it. Never watched it. I get really sick and tired of this. Another YouTuber called me the other day and said, hey, you need to put this in your course. You need to say this. And, and I go, I bet you haven't watched one video in the course. And he laughs. He goes, no, I haven't. I said, don't talk to me again until you do. I mean, I didn't say it that mean, but I was like, dude, come on. I know he's going to watch, but it's the truth. we put a lot of work into this stuff to change people's lives. And my report card, you want to hear the crazy thing? Watch this. I'm going to make an offer, a pitch to you, and I want your opinion and what you think about it. My report card is when you take a course from me about crypto and I teach you something, my report card is, are you going to buy my next course when I put out a student special sale on the next launch? And next week we're launching something about, it's about staking, restaking, and yield farming, because cryptocurrency is now the new bond market. And I'm going to explain that in just a second. But if you want the student pricing for that, I'll put a link down below for the current sale for the Security 101. And you know why I think every single person should take that course? I know somebody that's had over 7 figures stolen from them 1 week before their retirement. I personally know this person. He's watched the channel for years. He has been in cryptocurrency for as long as I have. When the crypto was stolen from him, the first question I asked, did you take my course on that stuff? And he said, no, I've been doing this for a long time. And just the other day, another YouTuber that had said, you know, you got to teach him this, this, and this. And I said, well, wait, hold on real quick. You know how to use MetaMask? Yeah, of course I know how to use MetaMask. You know how to tie MetaMask to your Trezor and use your Trezor now as an authenticator device? He goes, no, never heard of that. Well, there you go. You know, the truth is, I can do videos, and I've done one on how to set up a secret wallet inside of a Trezor. Not just having your seed phrase. Oh, you can have your seed phrase. Yeah, that's only one part of it. But actually how to set up a secret passphrase wallet on top of that. So that if somebody stealing your crypto actually had your entire seed phrase, had your device in hand, knew your actual PIN code too, they still couldn't get your money. But I put that video out for free. And you know how very few people watched it? Pretty much this many. Still on the channel for free. You can go watch it. It's a whole tutorial, how to, every single thing. But that's what happens when you put something out for free. Nobody watches it. Yeah. So check this out. If you want, this is the pitch. And then I'm going to tell you what this course is going to do next week. And I'm going to explain the bond market to you. And you know why? Because at this point in the video, after it goes off live, most people won't watch this far because they have very small attention spans. Type 10 if you agree with that. People's attention spans are shrinking along with their IQs. This is the truth. This is why very few people are succeeding in the crypto market right now. So, there's so much going through my mind. All right, bond market. Bond yields rise when whoever is issuing the bond, which is a debt instrument, right? They need a loan. When they need money and nobody wants to buy their bonds, okay? That is between that. You can have you've got the retail market, you've got the private market for these as buyers. When the government, we use the government as an example. Rates have risen in the last few years, not just because the Fed rose their benchmark rate. That's only one little part of it. The biggest part is that nobody wants to buy U.S. government debt anymore. They're also transitioning from longer term debt, like 10-year, 30-year bonds, into shorter bonds, short term. They want to be more liquid. So what's happening is the government has to, there have been days where bond auctions in the last couple of years have went no bid. So they have to raise the amount in the middle of the auction. They say, hey, we're offering, let's say, a 30-year bond at 4%. And no bidders. They're like, crap. Okay, how about 4 1/8? No bidders. Crap. How about 4 1/4? And people go, I'll buy, right? And then, but it's not enough. They're like, oh crap. How about 4 1/2? And then a bunch of people buy. Well, this is how it works in the bond market. When they close that auction, everybody gets that highest amount, right? That the day they closed. So then the people that bid at the 4 1/4 say, I'll buy it. They end up getting 4 1/2. And there's this thing called a tail, similar to a wick on a candlestick chart when you're trading stocks or crypto. And there have been days where they had to just keep raising rates, okay? So that's the biggest indicator of what's going on there in the bond market. Well, the bond's face value, right? When you buy $10,000 bond yielding 4.5%, One thing that affects the value of that bond drastically, and this is how very wealthy people have gotten insanely wealthy over the centuries. They turn around and during hard times, interest rates collapse. They drop, not only because the Fed lowers rates, but because when the stock market has problems and starts to contract, recession start or crash, people flood from the stock market and they sell their stocks, only exacerbating the issue. They run over to the bond market and they start buying bonds. Well, because so many people are buying bonds, not only is the Federal Reserve lowering the benchmark rate, but at the same time, all the people trying to buy bonds are pushing the rates down because people like the government say, we're going to issue more debt. And shoot, why do it at 4.5%? We'll do it at 4%. And people are buying it like crazy. They're like, well, we'll offer 3.5%. Oh, people are buying like crazy. And this pushes rates down. Well, what's happening right now, what you don't realize, do me a favor, type ME, if you own cash flowing real estate or you want to own it. The reason why I ask this is because this is the most famous type of cash flow. I always have said it's the easiest way to become a millionaire is to buy cash flowing real estate, do it well. And not only if you do it well, you're going to be making monthly cash flow while you sleep, but you're going to also make, appreciation if you buy the property right. Okay, cool. So look, we got a lot of people in the chat in this video that are landlords or want to be landlords. That's great. But the truth about real estate, and type 3, if this you agree, it's not just easy internet money. You have to tend to it. There's work. You got to get the tenants in. You got to fix it up. You got to identify the projects. It's a lot of work. And right now, cap rates are very low. Why? Because rents are not high enough compared to the property's purchase price, along with all the subsequent things that go in, insurance costs and things like that, mortgage rates and all that stuff. So cap rates are sitting, I'm looking at commercial properties right now, cap rates are like at 4%. That's total crap. There have been times in my real estate career where I'm buying commercial and residential properties like, fourplexes, and then there's commercial, small, light industrial places where the cap rate's 14, 15%. So what's happening is all these really smart money people aren't telling you what they're doing, and they're diving into cryptocurrency blockchain projects where they are buying some tokens and staking. And you could do this with, no joke, as little as $5 or $5 million. And what they're doing is they're staking on multiple different networks. And because these companies are going, hey, look, to run our tech stack, instead of going with Amazon Web Services or any of these other, rack services to run our servers, our colo, and to maintain our records, what we're going to do is we're going to offer this token, and anybody that wants to stake it is going to get a rate of return paid back in either stable coins now because of the new legislation, or the native token. So what this does now is when people are running to stake this stuff, there's less and less of that token, that crypto, on the market available. Just like the bond market, what happens to the value? Does it go up or down? If all of a sudden a bunch of people buy something, it causes demand for it, right? That raises the price. And then also when they stake it, there's less of it available. And I know this because I know what it's like to own 10% of an entire market cap. Okay, I'm not joking. This is not playing around here. All right. Like I said, there's gonna be a day where people go, dude, that dude that's on CNBC is a billionaire, rides a tricycle, and used to tell us this stuff, and if we do this stuff, we'll get rich. But this ain't financial advice. I didn't take that course in college, just I just went and got rich. So that's the only thing that qualifies me. All right, the government doesn't want rich people teaching poor people how to be rich. They want somebody that took a school class that got indoctrinated to become liberal mindset. I'm telling you, guys, please type 100 if you agree with this. The school system is intended to turn you into a slave. You want to get rich? You listen to rich people. So going back to this analogy, all these wealthy people are diving into this space, and they just locked up. I did a story the other day. Was it $60 billion? I'm showing you market cap coins that have like total value locked, meaning, oh guys, there's so much to this. It's insane. And so I'm going to release a course next week, and it's going to be on this. So if you want the stupid special sale price, yeah, I'm going to do the Rolex of, I don't got a Rolex here. You got to do the Rolex of of sales. You got to buy this other course because you need to learn this crypto security stuff, like now, how to use RFID chips. Here, look, I got one. I'm not going to show it to you. Anyway, my point being is you got to have some measure of faith. So if you want, the crypto security course is down below for a stupid price. I think it's $59. Go through it this week. Learn how to secure all your accounts. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach everyone how to start staking, yield farming, and doing this, and then how to build a portfolio and de-risk that portfolio. Like, nobody's talking about this. It's going to be my best-selling course. It is going to make people over the next 10 years stupid rich, because I'm also going to teach you how to do this in a bear market, because people are going to freak out and drop everything. And people like me and people like companies like BlackRock are going to be laughing all the way to the bank. And there'll be a point where I'm like, I told you. I know somebody the other day, a friend, he's going to watch this too. Well, my buddy convinced me to buy Ethereum and I'm just now at break even. I've been listening to everyone say hi to K-Dog, not the K-Dog that's the K-Dog subscriber, although everyone say hi to K-Dog too. He's always watching my videos. One of my first subscribers. So say hi to K-Dog. K-Dog, just, K-Dog subscriber, I have a K-Dog friend. And I said, dude, why aren't you staking your Ethereum? I don't know. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm like, because you're too busy complaining that when you bought it, it went down. Why did you buy it back then? Because you bought it on the hype. You looked at the chart. It was going straight up. And then by the time you bought, a bunch of other people bought, and then they panicked and sold. Well, K-Dog did a good thing and didn't sell. And look, it's right back to where it is. And it's going to go to all-time highs. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a $6,000 Ethereum price in the next 6 months. I ain't kidding. And I know that sounds crazy to people, but at the same time, you could have been staking it, getting even more Ethereum stacked on top. Jeez, it's an exponential growth. Guys, if this makes sense, please say, preach it, brother. I mean, seriously, this is how you make stupid amounts of money. You understand the cycles, you understand where the big money's going into, and then you position yourself, you posture yourself for success. Now, I'm glad you stuck around. Oh, it's live. A bunch of you just jumped on. But watch this. This is going to be the coolest thing ever. 24 hours from now, this is what I want to show you. This is probably the greatest thing, and it has nothing to do with crypto. It has everything to do with human emotion, behavior, and understanding. All right? This is serious. I'm going to ask you to type one thing. And of course, everyone in the live chat is going to type it. But what you're going to do 24 hours later, I want you to go through the comments of this video, and I want you to look to see if anyone that watched it when it wasn't live typed it, because it would mean that they watched the whole video and they got the chunks, the lesson, the free lesson of the bond market, me explaining all this stuff and how the crypto staking works. Watch this. And then you're going to see that nobody barely watches the video all the way through. I've done this test so many times, it's crazy. Type the word Mississippi. And if you need to know how to spell it, you shouldn't invest in crypto. I'm just joking. I can barely spell, so I did it. Hey, some random person's calling me. Oh my gosh, that's what I should do one of these days when I'm live. Show some random, it's not spam, but show some random phone number if it is spam, and then all you guys can call that person. How cool would that be? All right, next time a scammer calls me and it's spam, I'm going to show the screen, and then you can all call. That'd probably be a cool idea, right? Yeah. Type Mississippi 1 if you agree with that, and then I'll just go look later at the comments. All right, with that being said, hopefully you got something out of this. If you want the link to the Crypto Security 101 course, it's basic, but you should know basic people lose hundreds of thousands of dollars by scammers, by thefts, by losing some kind of password and not knowing how to do this. It's all down there in the course. All right, with that being said, Economic Ninja is out.